árbol filogenético de los lagartos actuales, los gecotas vienen siendo el grupo hermano de todos los demás lagartos del mundo, incluidas las serpientes. Entonces es un grupo bastante importante porque habla algo sobre la historia temprana del grupo.
Me interesa mucho tu posición con respecto a la posición filogenética de los gecos. Vos me decís que son el grupo hermano de todos los demás. Eso es en función de una filogenia molecular, ¿no es cierto? En donde ubica a los gecos o a los divámidos como en la base.
Sí,
Pero nosotros también hemos hablado con los alumnos de esta otra posición, la morfológica, ¿no es cierto?, en donde los gecos son partes de escleroglosa y sería iguaña los más basales. ¿Cuál es tu
claro.
opinión entre estas dos diferentes posibles filogenias?
Sí, bueno, yo soy un morfólogo, ¿no? Y yo siempre fui muy pegado a la filogenia morfológica, pero viéndolo desde el punto de vista de lo que conozco de los geckos, eh, hace un poco de sentido que estén ubicados en la base del grupo. Uno mira más o menos el plan corporal que uno se imaginaría el ancestro de muchos de estos grupos de lagartos y viene a ser algo muy similar a un gecko. Entonces, de cualquier manera se considere la filogenia morfológica o molecular, los geckos siempre tienden a ser un grupo bastante basal
Bien.
en la filogenia.
Aaron, you know that there are two main phylogenies for the Lepidosaurians, the morphological and the molecular one. Which is for you the best phylogeny by now?
So luckily, working on geckos, what those two phylogenies both agree on is sort of the distinctiveness of geckos. So from my point of view, for working on my group, I don't have to choose sides 100% because both phylogenies argue that the geckos are quite distinctive from all other groups. I think on the one hand, I grew up with the morphological phylogeny, and it was one that made a lot of sense, really ever since the time of camp. It was something that fit very well for what we knew about the biology of lepidosaurs. The molecular phylogeny is definitely disturbing in some ways because it takes groups that morphologically seem to be very, very disparate from one another. But I will actually take a sort of third pathway and say that I've recently been working on a new phylogeny with some colleagues, which actually gets different results. And I'll just mention briefly, one of those results is that pleurodont iguanians and acrodont iguanians not being together, not being monophyletic.
Oh, that's shocking.
And on the one hand, it is sort of shocking, but on the other hand, I can see that as being an example of extreme convergence for a lifestyle of being a diurnal ambush predator, where colors and crests and all of those things that we think of for both of those groups come into play. So although I think that the molecular phylogeny has some definite has revealed some patterns that I think are probably undeniable, I also think that the existing molecular phylogeny probably still has problems in it. And I think that it's a mistake when people think, well, morphology has problems with convergence, but of course the molecular data can have convergence as well. It's just harder for us to see it. So I think that the traditional morphological phylogeny is certainly a good basis for understanding the biology of lepidosaurs. I think there's probably some corrections that are needed to that, but I don't necessarily feel that the current molecular phylogeny has all of those corrections quite right. So I think the truth probably lies somewhere in between. And when you look at what they share, many of the larger groupings that are brought together are things that are supported by both. So things like amphisbaenids and lacertids, which are that are brought together by both of these. So I think that our problem always with phylogenies are largely associated with these deeper branches where we're going to have the biggest problems, whether it's long branch attraction that happens with molecular phylogenies, or whether it's a lack of certain combinations of morphological states at the deep parts of these trees. So I think the answer is probably a little of both.
Okay. Un abrazo, Aarón, y muchísimas gracias por participar. Chao, chao.
Chao.